Well, hello, Dr. Jodie McAllister. It's very nice to see you.
Oh, it's nice to see you too, Dr. Antonia Pont.
Hello. Well, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to join me today. I'm the course director for the Bachelor of Creative Writing, and Jodie is one of my fabulous teammates and a course team member. And we're here to discuss the hilarious topic, which is how to write a romance, even if you can't have one under lockdown. So, yes. Welcome, Jodie. I see you're in your illustrious romantic kitchen.
Yes, the most romantic space. Actually, there's a lot of food in romance novels, so that's only like 25% a joke.
That's only, I know, I think that's very good. So, I mean, tell me, I know that you teach many things for us, but one of your areas of expertise is genre fiction, and I guess romance can be one of those genres. Can you?
Indeed it is.
Can you sort of tell me, as someone who's, let's say, treat me as if I'm very ignorant of the romance and never read them secretly or anything like that. What makes a romance book compared to just a normal novel, which may have a love plot?
Yeah. So a romance novel needs two elements, and this is according to the Romance Writers of America, but this definition has been adopted by many different organizations all over the world. Oh, very good. So it needs a central love story. So the romance needs to be the main plot and not just kind of a sneaky subplot that someone's put in there.
Yep.
And it needs to have an emotionally satisfying and optimistic ending, which basically means it ends happily, either a happily ever after, which is often referred to as a HEA, or a happy for now, a HFN.
I love it. We can all describe our lives as what is it? HEA
or HFN.
I love it. That's just going to help me sort out my life situations now. Okay, so let's say I wanted to write a romance novel. If I've never done it, what do I need to know about?
Well, firstly, you need to know that a romance novel's got to have romance in it and that it's got to end well. That happy ending is really mandatory in the genre. Mm-hmm. People often try and sneak unhappy endings in on the grounds that it's realistic, but romance is not that interested in realism. Romance is more interested in idealism, I think, in kind of fantasy. So often people ask me what the romance formula is, like they've heard that Mills and Boon have this secret document that's got the breakdown in, and that is a big fat lie. But there are certain, like Mills and Boon do not have a secret packet that tells you, there needs to be a sex scene on page 110. That's not true. But there are kind of beats that we can talk about in romance, and they've been broken down really well by a scholar called Pamela Regis. So she argues that a romance novel has 8 elements. So the first one is society defined, which is basically we find out what kind of setting we're working in, and often there's something not quite right about the setting that the romance will ultimately
So is this like Crazy Rich Asians, really wealthy family, don't want a new person?
Exactly. That's a great example.
Cool.
Yeah. Then the protagonists have to meet. Pretty hard to have a romance if they don't meet. They have to be attracted to each other. Also pretty difficult to have a romance if that doesn't happen. But there's got to be a barrier between them, because if they just kind of met and were like, hey, you're pretty hot, and got together, that's not a very good romance.
Because if you get what you want immediately, you don't value it?
Yeah, and the center of narrative is conflict. We see this in all different kinds of narratives. There needs to be
conflict between them and the society that is somehow obstacling their love. Is that?
Yeah, well, it can be both. So we often talk about internal and external conflict in romance. So, just say she owns a company and he's trying to acquire it. Think of something like You Got Mail is a good example there.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
There needs to be a declaration of love, often at different places in the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But then there needs to be what's called the point of ritual death, or the dark moment, the moment where it seems like they can never be together, that the obstacles holding them apart are too big.
Like the mother in Crazy Rich Asians, or I'm trying to think, what's another good one? Is Zoolander a romance? No, that's not romantic enough.
Probably not so much. But I mean, what you always see it in romances, when it looks like the two characters can never be together. That, one of them has revealed a hidden truth, and it means that, oh no, it can never work out. But then they recognize the means by which the barrier can be overcome. They work out how to work it out. And then we end with what Regis calls the betrothal, but what I kind of prefer to think of as the happy ending, whether that's a HEA or a HFN.
Look, that is so amazing. It, look, you know, we're under lockdown here in Melbourne at the moment, and you've just made me want to go and write a romance.
Oh,
I could do a romance like mini story, couldn't I? In
oh,
the
of
time it
course.
takes me to eat my cupcake, which is
Oh,
very
you could do a
romantic.
beautiful one.
That is so interesting, Jodie. It's so precise. I think that's really interesting. And I guess for me, and maybe for the listeners in Open Day, it's kind of like wild because, yeah, I mean, it's like the first person you cited who knows that there's 8 beats is a scholar, is a
Mm,
scholar of romance fiction. And I think that's sort of an amazing thing that we often can forget, is that this ability to kind of study something closely and then pull out the gems is really amazing. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm hoping some of the viewers, apart from being extremely impressed that they could study with you at Deakin, might also want to write a happy ending for now.
mm.
That
And
would.
if, yeah, and if anyone wants a reading list, they know where to find me. It's at Deakin.
Hey, it's really nice to chat. Have a great time in your romantic kitchen. I hope you're going to bake something very, yeah, I don't know, very sophisticated and fantastic in there today. And
I know a lot more about romance than I do about cooking.
that's really cool. Hey, it's really nice to talk, and see you soon. Thank you heaps.
Bye.